Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 60 and the last one for this third season, entitled Love. Alright, so like usually we're gonna split up in 4 chapters. The first one will be the definition, the concept, the perspective. Secondly, we'll see the reason for being, the purpose of love, and also the fields of application. We'll spend a little bit of time to unfold the concept to reach, let's say, progressively third chapter and fourth, respectively, around 20 different techniques and tips and advice regarding love. Alright, so what is love? What is love? Concretely, let's define it like following. It doesn't mean this is the truth. It is like most of the keys, most of everything. This is just subjective, is gathering. It's the fruits of, let's say some different resources, my experience, humble vision, and so on and so forth, of course. So, as I say many times, there is no miracle recipe, there is only miraculous adaptation, and especially for this one, which is completely and purely subjective. Okay, so not really a definition, an academic definition, but we can consider love is an interest, kind of taste, shown by someone for a category of things, activity, or bringing a source of pleasure. I like football, I love art, and so on. Okay, it's abstract in that perspective. I love food, for example. First. Secondly, this is affection and or tenderness towards a person and or an animal and a concept and so on. Okay, so, and the third one will be defined and through 5 different layers. First of all, self-love. Yes, self-love, and we'll spend a little bit of time with this. Self-love is the first pillar of love. How do you want to be loved? How do you want to emit love if you're not able to love yourself? Okay? This is a loan that you have, your body, your life, and so on, and how to honor it is by respecting what you received. You don't like it, you can work on it, your character and so on. This is what we will see with the notion of ego, with the notion of cleansing and so on, to identify your identity, individuality, and so on and so forth, the different personality, the mask that you have, that you inherit, that shape your personality through other people, your parents' education, school, culture, whatever. But this is a state, I mean, this is the results of the influences of other people, and also it is built in, okay, like character and so on. But you can also change. It's not fixed. That's the point. First, loving yourself, meaning thereby it's not necessarily, let's say, linked to hashtag I love myself, okay, selfish all the time, and you always take picture when you are in love with yourself, and in parallel sometimes you like not really balanced and you hate yourself, and in parallel you love yourself, you know, like the notion of paradox love. Okay, so it's not that. In that perspective, self-love is just the fact to be aware of your defaults. Either you accept them because it doesn't affect your mood, your harmony, your relationship with other people, or you work on them. It takes time and so on. Yeah, as a matter of fact, but at least you undertake some corrective actions. Okay, self-love. Secondly is your relatives, your family, environment, your colleagues, your friends, and so on and so forth. Family, by extension, the word is a kind of great family in a certain extent, the mankind. Okay, in that case, this is a notion of neighbors that you have in the Bible. Love yourself as your neighbors and so on. Okay, or love your neighbors as yourself. Okay, but if you don't like yourself, of course you will hate them. That's always this communicating vases, mutual effect, mirroring. Second one is to love someone with heart in the sense of couple, okay, basically. Fourth is the notion of love with unconditional love. We talk about that in the key 4 and the key 34. Okay, so I will not come back on this, but just to say there's kind of infinite love. It doesn't mean that you want to kiss everybody, hug everybody, dictators, rapers, and so on. No, it's not this. But you're peaceful towards them. You don't have any hate, angriness, and so on. You are discharged, you neutralized this bad energy towards them. That's why you are peaceful and you are at peace within yourself. And you don't wait for the death, okay, to rest in peace. You are at peace within this life. That's the point, okay? So unconditional love is this. And it's not you are in unconditional love or unconditional hate. Okay, there is in between. Huh? You can be in unconditional love and you do your best, and sometimes you fail. And if you do it 80% of your time, is already excellent, right? So that's the point. But then there is also a divine, a mystical dimension through this concept of love, this unconditional love. To tell you in the language of birds, I told you already what is the language of bird. It's like a mystical language. You hear different sounds, okay, as I told you, like unity, universe, but my way of writing it is a language of bird in English, universe, okay, or universal, okay. I can write Y-O-U. Like you, and you, and you, individually and separately and globally, collectively, universe. You're part of universe, you have the universe within you. And soul, like, the soul, okay, universal, okay, dimension. For example, this is language of bird. So, amour, in French, amour, âme means soul. And our means in Semitic languages, Hebrew and Arabic. In Arabic, el-nur, okay, same origin, same roots. It means, this is one of the 99 names of gods, okay, of God. And same in Hebrew, ur means the divine light, okay. That's why the quest of Aur means also gold. Okay, the ambiguity in French is the double sound. I mean, is a homonyme. It means homo, same. Nym is same sound. Okay, Aur and Or is the same. Gold and divine light is the same. That's why the ambiguity of alchemy is not the quest of gold, is the quest of the divine light. You have it in a Kabbalah. Kabbalah, you have not the last stage, but you have different steps before entering in the reality, Kether. It's, you have Ein Sof, Aur. Ein Sof, Aur. It's the infinite light, divine light. Okay, bon. To tell you that it's something mystical. Okay, and then you have the fifth, the quintessence in a certain extent of love, which is just sexuality, as we saw in the previous key. That's why I separate, because I told you you can have sex without love. It exists a lot. You can have love without sex, and vice versa. Okay, but it's true that if you really love someone and you make love, the act of it, it's something extraordinary. Okay, so, and in that case, it becomes a kind of holy grail. Okay, so the first one, self-love, I told you, is the fruits of the ego. This is in alchemy what we call vitriol. It's acronym in Latin. I'm not going to tell you in Latin, I'm going to give you the translation. It's visit the interior of the heart, and by rectifying, you will find the hidden stone. The hidden stone is the philosophical stone. Okay, this is the Holy Grail, in a certain extent, is this is the true self, is when you clean up, okay? When you clean up the whole scories, that's to say the whole dust, the whole negative aspect of yourself, okay? That's so you dig into your deep, let's say, origins, to take it out, the different layers of your personality, okay? Referring to key 9, ego, and key 10, cleansing, okay? So you clean up because you identify your character, your personality. I told you persona means mask, okay? Happy face, unhappy, and so on, okay? It's from Greece theater, okay? Just to tell you that we have different masks due to our culture, our education from the parents, from the family, from the states, your culture, your religion or not, your psychology, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you have been shaped through others. Okay, direct and indirect. Okay, so but is not your identity. You identify most of the time yourself through this ego. But this ego is just a pure creation. It's like this clothes. Okay, my room, my different clothes are just costumes. Okay, is my ego, and when I'm naked, is my true self. Okay, it's a metaphor. Okay, so it's the same actually, and the goal by cleaning up like this, so to decipher the different layers, is just to see your true self, that's to say your soul in a certain extent. So that's really important for you to appreciate yourself. Either you work in it, you don't like these elements of yourself, but at least you know where it's coming from. First step, then you clean, you train, and so on. You have a therapy and so on and so forth. Okay, so but it's really important. Then second is to love your relatives, your neighbors, and so on. Concretely, is the famous the golden rule, or rule of gold, but golden rule. You have it in all the religions, in Judaism, in Christianity, in Islam, in Hinduism, in Buddhism, in Zoroastrianism, in Taoism, Confucianism, and so on and so forth. Okay, Jainism, and so on. Concretely, it's by different, let's say, form, but the content is unchanged. It means love your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay, is that the point? So if you hate yourself, you won't be able to love someone else. But concretely is an extension of the self, because it is considering the fact that everybody is just a cell of the cosmic pulse or the cosmic lung. Okay, an alveolus, embodying an alveolus of this consciousness as a cosmic breath. That's the point. Third is the notion of love, partner, and so on, as we will see it with the application of twin flames, and also the notion of law of attraction. Rumi said, the great Sufi said, what you seek is seeking you. Okay, very important. Okay, then let's continue with this metaphysical dimension of love. I love this sentence. People who hold the light always end up meeting each other, because the reflection of what you are projecting on another one comes back to you. Concretely is the mirroring effects. Okay, the more you emit some light, and the more you will getting back. Okay, the more you emit some darkness, and the more you are in the darkness. Okay, life is like a gigantic mirror. Okay, we are mirroring all the time. Okay, we are reflecting each other, and that's why the more you give, the more you receive, love and hate, and so on. Okay, based on this principle. And beyond of that, I love also quoting Marianne Williamson, who said the following: when we allow our inner light to shine, we subconsciously give others permission to do so. Concretely, it's not shining necessarily, it's to show off, of course, it's enlightening, Okay, you're enlightening other people to help them to find their own way. Okay, it's not for them to be blind, of course not, but it's just to help them to do so. Okay, that's for me extremely important. And the last one, let's say the act of love, when it's with pure love plus the acts, this is concretely the fact to merger. When you really have someone here, you really want to be in this person. Okay, so it's merging, it's like a fusion, it's like let's say a union and reunion. It's let's say what we will see later, but we come from, okay, duality. I told you many times, really important. The verb to exist, existence, means literally to separate. So before starting, we come from the absolute and we embody in the matter, okay, the fall of Eden, okay, by following in the density. Okay, so we reduce our vibration and we separate from the big wall, okay, in a certain extent. So to exist, we have been obliged to separate. But when we have this connection with someone, and especially in the act, at this moment, everything disappears, space-time, you don't know if you are yourself or if you're part of it. And actually, this is an expansion of consciousness and so on and so forth. All right, let's continue with the purpose in quota mark, the reason for being, and the fields of application of love. First, it's obviously a source of pleasure and achievements. Secondly, it's a way to share. Okay, life is happiness, and life is especially through if it is shared. Okay, like a bottle of champagne, if you drink a lot, it doesn't taste the same than if you share with people. Third is good to be healthy. It has been proved mentally, psychologically, physiologically, and so on. If we love, emitting, receiving, we are more healthy. Okay, better circulation, mindset, epigenetic, affecting your genes, your DNA, and then your metabolism. Better circulation within yourself. Okay, so. But it has been proved in laboratory with some parallels with some rats. 3 clusters of rats. 1 cluster for which we stimulate the neurons and so on for having the feeling of love. Secondly, okay, with hate. And third cluster with nothing. Once again, you know the history of experience of experiments of Masuro Emoto. Check on internet, you will see the power of the mind on the water, knowing that we are made of 70% of water. So first experience, I hate you, and it's completely disharmonious patterns. And for water, when we crystallize it with, we check with a lens. And secondly, I love you and so on, peace and so on, it's completely harmonious. So if you always repeat fuck and so on, I hate you and so on, you are vibrating the first option, and secondly, you are in love and so on, you are vibrating the second one. Okay, so you are radiating in the second option. So in this experience of the rats, the first one was love, second one was hate, and the third one, nothing. The first one, of course, there was harmonious and so on, everything was fine. The second, paradoxally, the second one, they survived. They were not necessarily, let's say, at peace, of course, but they were surviving. And the third one, they didn't survive. They died because they were not stimulating. What does it mean? It's really powerful. It means that it's not, it does make sense that if you receive love and you emit love, you are more healthy. Okay, so we could have a guess. But the most interesting, it's better in the quota mark, in this experience, it's better either to receive hate instead of indifference. No reaction and so on. So we need interaction with people. That's why unconsciously, maybe let's say the contact, consciously, unconsciously, we are doing sometimes some fights, some conflict and so on. It's just for stimulating our existence. Okay, I invite you to think about it, but it's quite interesting. Fourth is love allows you to be in harmony, individually, collectively. It does make sense. And last is the notion the love is the cement, the links, the joints of the cements of the building of the new paradigm, the new era. I mean, which is now, no need to wait that the new era is coming from the sky. It's not one day we're gonna wake up and like snow everywhere. It's snow. Okay, there is snow. No, it's the new paradigm is here. No, it's not like this. We're gonna build it. We are building it, and it's now that we are invited to do it. That's the point. I'm gonna establish an analogy, a parallel, metaphor with God and love. Why? Because God's, let's say, fascinates and in parallel frightens, okay, fears a lot of people since the dawn of time, and it became a kind of taboo in humanity and love as well. Love and God, in a certain extent, it's a kind of story like impossible story. I mean, it's not impossible story, but it's a kind of I love you, neither do I. You know, this notion. I'm gonna tell you to join the two parallels with love and God. It's from the great Sufi Sham et Tabriz, who is the mentor, the master of Rumi, where I'm living here, okay, in Konya, a few hundred kilometers from here, in Turkey, okay, and he said the following, okay, please listen. A life without love is no accounts. It doesn't count. Don't ask yourself what kind of love you should seek, spiritual or material, divine or mundane, Eastern or Western. Division only lead to more division. Love has no labels, no definitions. It is what it is, pure and simple. Love is the water of life, and the lover is the soul of fire. The universe turns differently when fire loves water. It's so beautiful and deep. Why? Because it's what I wanted to make you discover. The fact that this is really strange in English, in French, or whatever the language, most of them is the same. There is no different things to evoke love, like act, the different love we say. I love football, I love my family, I love food, I love my wife, I love my kid, I love my parents, I love, I don't know, my neighborhood, my neighbor, I love, okay, you know, all this is love. But why we don't have different words for this? It's so poor language, not only in English. In French is the same. In Italian, in Portuguese, in Spanish, in German is the same. In Chinese as well. So it's always the same word. And you know why? Probably because it's written here. It's just a concept. It's a vibration. And thereby, it's no point of defining. It's not a definition. It's like defining intuition. Intuition is just like you know, a spark. You have it. But it doesn't send you like a chapter, a literature, and so on. It's just a feeling. It's furtive and long as well. It's, you know, it's like an essence. Only that. Okay. So that's why it's so. That's why I do the parallel with. It's like a soap bubble. Okay, love is like a soap bubble. It's difficult to grasp it. Grasp it means to catch it, to understand it. And with the subtlety, the subtle difference with catching, so to understand and to, you know, to embrace it. As long as you do it for a soap bubble, it disappears. It's same a little bit for the concept of love and for the concept of God as well. That's why I try to insist love and God are two different taboos. And I told you before, there is two taboo within life. I told you for the previous key regarding sex. Two taboos, essentially death and sex. Okay, death is the end, apparently for materialistic vision, and sex brings life. Okay, and for other people is the different perspective. Death is just the end of the illusion and the openness of a new perspective, the end of the dream, the illusion, Maya, and so on. And life is just you are from the absolute and you embody and you incarnate in the duality and you separate from the whole. Okay, so anyway, just death and sex, two essential taboos. But beyond of that, death, we can say subtly, the consequence is the quest of beliefs, God, and so on to compensate the fear of death. Okay, is God, and let's say the extension of sex is love. Okay, so certainly we could see that the two taboos, in addition, are also God and love. And by the way, I think intimately that is the same. It's a kind of synonym because it's a concept. When you have this type of astral projection, astral travel, and so on, and you're out of your consciousness, those who had near-death experience, they experience that full of love, overwhelmed by love, and so on. Love, light, and God, almost within the same thing, like synonyms. But because you don't dissociate, there is no words, okay, it's wordless at this point. It's meaningless, it's wordless, and so on, okay, it's pure sensation. Anyway, so this is linked to the notion, I say again, I quote again Shams et Tabriz saying, you can study God through everything and everyone in the universe because God is not confined in a mosque, synagogue, or church. But if you are still in need of knowing where exactly his abode is, there is only one place to look for him, her, it, in the heart of a true lover. It's so beautiful. And true lover doesn't mean necessarily a couple. It's, I saw many lovers in charity, for example, when they give their heart to people they don't know, for example. Yes, it's like a mystical love, and they are animated with, consciously or unconsciously, with the divine light. That's the point. And that's why I say many times enthusiastic. Enthusiast means, in Greek, literally, etymologically, it means crossed by God or divinity. A word to the wise. So, if we had to resume, it's philosophy from many Sufism, Hinduism, and so on, and it's a part of the basics of the course in miracle. There is two forces, love and fear. And fear is linked to love, because most of the time the fear of losing love, the fear of missing love or lacking love, and so on, are so they are not in opposition. They just highlight each other, okay, like darkness and light and so on. But love is union, is absolutes, okay? It's combining the polarities like yin and yang, Ida, Pingala, and so on, okay? And fear is separation. I'm afraid of them. I'm separate from the world. The other people, other culture, they are necessarily bad person. This is ego. This is fragmentation. This is fear. Okay? And we can say that it's different perspective. Okay? Once again, regarding love in general, in the absolute, but now we're going to focus more on a couple. There is no miracle recipe, only miracle adaptation, because it depends on some alchemies, that's to say combination, okay? It depends, it can work occasionally, or it can work, it cannot work at all, okay? Or a period of time, and so on. This is important to think about that. Also, the notion of couples we have nowadays evolves, the notion evolves, and also evolved over time. What does it mean? Two pillars before starting. The first one is the history. We have a lack of perspective. Okay, we don't have a certain distance, and I love history, and I love sociology and so many things, and I try to do many researches since I'm teenager regarding the history of love. Okay, and the concept we have for couple nowadays is extremely recent. Why? And it's recent from when? Something like end of 60s, okay? May 68 in France, but also this movement, it was in Europe in general, it was in States, you know, the movement, New Age, peace and love and so on. What is it concretely? It's an emancipation, okay? A liberation of morals, of women, a right of sexual enjoyments and so on. And for different reasons, I'm going to explain after. Why? Because we can consider, especially in Europe, they suffered after, and the state as well, two world war. Sorry. So this is a moment for which the new generation, they say, okay, it's forbidden to forbid. Okay, please keep your tools, your weapons, and so on. We just want to build a new vision. That's why New Age is the new era already pre-announced against the materiality and so on and so forth. And also the load of institutions, okay, the load of Christianity and so on, for which before 50s, it was, before 60s and even before, divorcing and so on was almost forbidden. Okay, it was really badly perceived. Okay, so why at this moment? Because it's a vault, but I give you different elements, especially one of them is extremely important. Occurred in Europe. If I take the example of France, okay, supposed to be the Enlightenment philosopher and so on country, okay, you know, in Chinese, France is Fa Guo. What does it mean? The country of law. Okay, it's the freedom, the country of freedoms, human speech, human rights, and so on. Okay, even if originally is more England because it's habeas corpus, but anyway. Okay, so French Revolution showing the way, or in a certain extent. But what's really strange, the rights for women to have bank accounts is just in 65. I was born in 80. Okay, so just 15 years before, there was no right for the woman to have bank accounts. And you're gonna see the consequences just after. And 15 years is nothing. If I compare with now, we're in 2022, is 2007 is almost the subprime crisis. It was yesterday almost. So imagine this amount of time. So it's nothing. And what implies thereby? By just the fact that when you have a bank account, or you don't have the right to have a bank account, it's simple. You are not independent. You're not financial independent. You're not financially speaking. You're dependent on your husband. So if you say, oh, I want to quit and to divorce and so on, you cannot afford. Otherwise, you don't have any way of, you don't have money. I mean, it's not the bank account giving you your money, of course not. But it's so a symbol, you understand? So there was no independence. So there was no balance in the couple. Okay, so that's why some people are afraid about the new trends and so on for emancipation of women and so on. But it's just an equality nowadays. So just to tell you that we have no perspective. It's only 50 years. Okay, and what I want to tell you through this is we can say that there is no real love marriage, love weddings over the times for peasants, but also for let's say, for a kingdom and so on. Usually you're, I don't know, you're king of Russia or whatever. You give your daughter to the Sultan of, I don't know, Ottoman Empire to make peace. Okay, just for that. So it's just arrangement. But it's the same phenomenon in the small village and so on. Okay, your son has this girlfriend and so on, has this, you have this daughter available, quote unquote. Okay, let's they're married, almost this. So it was more a concept. People learn how to love each other, or at least to respect each other or not. And, but it was really rare, the fact the love marriage doesn't exist in the history. It's just an exception. It's a romance, it's a poesy, and so on and so forth. But Romeo and Juliet probably exists, and these archetypes over the times probably, but it's just a minority. And the fact that people are living and choosing is just extremely recent. It's just for half century, 50 years. And before, it was especially arranged. Okay, so that's why now it's like a boom, a bing bang, a new trend, because it's just the fact that it's completely recent. Okay, so let's continue with this dimension. The second pillar is to demystify the false or the fake image that we have from the couple from in our dreams. What does it mean? When you watch Hollywood and even Bollywood, but usually in the real life, it doesn't work really like this. Huh? When you have a problem, you don't sing and Bollywood and so on. Same for Hollywood. Okay, when you wake up and you wake up and you already the beautiful lady is already has makeup and you don't smell from the mouth and so on and so forth. This is completely sanitized. So a lot of people project and take it as a reference, thinking it's possible, is the truth. It's not the truth. The proof is that if you like people, stuff and so on, gossip, you can see they are divorcing and there is no beautiful love story as in the reality. So what does it mean? It means that those who, it's good, I'm not saying it's bad Hollywood and so on, I'm just saying that it's good to dream and so on, but just to be aware on the fact that it's just an illusion. It's just a dream, okay? It's like when you watch science fiction or Harry Potter, it doesn't exist, right? Same for love story in Hollywood, okay? So those who are destroying their life because they compare and they are feeling frustrating, always waiting for incredible princess and charming prince, it will never happen, okay? Why? Because, you know, it's really like when I say sanitizing life is like odorless cheese, okay, or without smell. It's like pasteurized. It's a normal process. When you know the industry of cheese, the bacteria are important for the taste and even for good for health. Okay, so if you want to sanitize this, it's not good for health. It's a metaphor. What does it mean? A couple is a part of the game. You cannot be in a honeymoon all your life long, okay? Or you can, if you go, for example, a good parallel could be love when you go for holidays, okay? You go in Seychelles and in a paradisiac highlands with lagoons, and you are tan, you're relaxed, no problem, you have good food, good mood, everything is perfect, you make love, you have nice activities and so on. You are on paradise on earth. So that's normal. It's for a short period of time. It's amazing. Okay. But this is just for a short period of time. It's not illusionary love, but it's just on a short period of time. If you want, for example, oh, it was amazing and so on, I just want to see her back and so on. So you go to Canada or I don't know, wherever in Argentina and so on, and you find this back this person in a city, and then you say, oh, it's still working well. Okay, let's start something, and you're in an apartment, and then you have your bills to pay, you have the kids, and so on. You have the different constraints of the world, and then the romance disappear a little bit. Okay, so what I try to tell you, a movie, the identification of Hollywood and the movie is exactly like, stop, okay, action, stop. That's it. It's just a picture, but it's fake. I mean, is the identification of that, the comparison with that, aspiring to that, is necessarily driving people in the frustration. Is like the fact that officially it has been proved recently, sociologic analysis states that Instagram, okay, creates 1/3 of the population. Drive them frustrated. Why? Because they compare. But most of the time, happy life and so on, and then whoa. You understand my point? It's the same for couple. So, that's why also there is an explosion of divorce. In Western countries, Europe and North America is half, 50% of divorce. It's like a referendum. Are you in favor or do you think it's work? But it's a matter of fact, apparently half of the results is a failure or not. So why for that? Why is that? Is because people are less invested, they do less effort, we are more in a consumerist perspective, no passion, we are not patient anymore. We are looking for too much. We are in a zapping society. We are born quickly and so on. We idealize what we see from Hollywood, and we expect always better and better and better, like reaching satiety, like food. But it's quite logical, because also before there was less divorce because people could not afford. I told you for financial reasons, financial freedom. So because of the weights, the loads of institution, especially for Christianity and so on, the society in general, it was badly seen. So you're gonna think, oh, he doesn't believe in love. Since I'm young, that's why I do this parallel. I've been, let's say, in love with love, and I've been also afraid, like everybody, about love. Einstein say, he said the following, for the question if he was believing in God, he say, tell me what is your concept of God, I will tell you if I believe in it or not. So, ask me the concept of love, I will tell you if I believe in it or not. In Hollywood perspective, selling with credit, quote mark, and consumerism perspective, only perfect, honeymoon, sanitized, no, I don't believe in it. At all. No, I don't believe in it. And why? Because basically the perfection, aspiring for dreaming, why not without frustration, but the perfection is not, it's not terrestrial. It doesn't exist. Do you know a lot of perfect life? Do you know? I don't. I never met anybody telling me, oh, my life is just perfect, amazing. I never had any, I never pain. I never suffered. Impossible. Life. You know perfect people? Like they have no failures, no drawbacks, they no, default as well. Personally, I don't know. I know even a machine wouldn't be. No sense of humor, no spontaneity, and so on and so forth. So, a lot of couples, perfect. I never met. Okay, so if we aspire to something which doesn't exist, it's sure that we will never find it and we will be always frustrated. Okay, so no, I don't believe in that. I believe in the beauty of love, in the natural process of life with up and down. And like when you see the earth beating, If it's like this, you're dead. Okay, life is a part, is sinusoidal. Okay, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. To see the beauty, the magnificence of the rainbow, you need the rain and the sun. So renouncing to the rain because you only want sun and blue sky is not life. It's like saying that, oh no, I refuse to live because I know I will have pain, I will suffer, I will know the experience of death and so on. Yeah, but you don't respect the rules of life. Okay, so sanitizing life as we have now in this new society, yes, I believe in up and down because nostalgia can be nice. You can appreciate a kind of nostalgia. If you know Paris, when you go to Montmartre, it's romantic and so on, it's more beautiful when the sky is gray. You have, accordion and so on, the music, and you can be single and it's nice as well. You see what I mean? So you can appreciate, and I believe in this type of beauty of life. It's like a movie. In a movie, do you know a lot of movies starting, they're very in love and everything is perfect, everything is perfect, everything is perfect, and after 1 hour and a half, and they had a lot of kids. No movie, because there is no up and down. You need necessarily in a movie, you need breaking the routine, like a plot, outcome, arrangement, and so on. Okay, unfolding. But it's never flat. It's never, and is always unstable. And if it's flat, it's death. I told you, up and down is the sinusoidal of your heart beatings. Okay, so keep this in mind. I mean, this is just an advice. Okay, really important is the good balance, middle path between forcing yourself and stubbornness. Forcing yourself, stubbornness, obstinacy, and effortless. And effortless means you just because she broke a glass, you has divorce, and or he burn the food, you divorce, of course. I personally think in putting some wood into the fire of love, and because it's up and down, and we need to reseduce each other, especially if we think that we can have a long path together. I love this notion of partner, but even, I don't know if in English is so beautiful, but in French is a compagnon. Compagnon, which is companionship. Okay, companionship is really the fact to accompany someone on your path. Your common path. It means that it's not necessarily forever, but at least for a long period of time. It can be for a while, for 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, but it's already beautiful, you see? And because I don't believe in the notion of perceiving the other as a way to compensate. That to say, what we call a crutch. Crutch, what is it? Is, when you have difficulties to walk because you are unbalanced and so on, okay, you're handicapped, you have a crutch, okay, to help you to walk. And most of the time, unconsciously or consciously, we aspire to find a compensation from the partner. But the problem is this. If, for example, I would be happy if I find a woman or a man and so on, to compensate this lack. But the problem with this is it creates, after a while, a notion of dependence, a notion of jealousy sometimes, because you know that you are fragile, you are weak, because you are dependent on this person. If the person is not in love anymore, it can happen. The person, I don't know, find someone else. The person can die. It's life, an accident and so on. So it creates fear, stress, and a kind of possession, possessivity and so on. So this is something very important to take care about that. Okay, once again, in a materialistic society, the perception of zapping and so on, everything is quick, is also the same for couples in general. But we can consider that the aspiration of love is a kind of equivalence of finding back this unity I told you. Okay, we come from the unity and the absolute, and we to separate, to exist, we separate from this. This is the fall of Eden. Okay, so when I was teenager, I wrote, I'm sorry if there is some mistakes in English, because it's a translation from French and is more the essence. I invite you to listen as something I created when I was 15 years old, I think. It's a metaphor, and this is a speech I say for the weddings of my sister. Before all creation, everyone was an apple in the tree of possibilities, a sort of Eden, in a celestial world, a suspended world. But in order to materialize in reality, each apple, once beautiful enough, and strong enough, mature enough, fell to the ground. In a contact with the ground, with materiality, and no longer with suspended space-time, this same apple split into two and went around the world to ultimately find itself and unite again forever, and thus grow all together from there to rot jointly by creating humus, same roots than man, humus, and thus by giving birth to a multitude of other apple trees and other offspring. The difficulty was to find oneself insofar as the simple disorientation of the odor of the small gravel and or the light breeze, okay, could change the trajectory, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it was this notion of we are part of something bigger and we have been separated. So this is a kind of metaphor. I didn't know the concept of twin flames, okay, but it's a kind of concept. But the thing is, by always aspiring to that can create frustration, okay, seeking always better and more, and so on. Okay, you can sometimes miss a beautiful story with someone because you are expecting the perfection of the twin souls and the and so on, twin flames and so on. You see, so I invite you to think about that. You know, I say to you previously, this is a sentence I love from Elif Shafak, saying the following: no matter who you are, where we live, deep inside we all feel incomplete. It's like if we had lost something and experiencing the fact to finding back. What is this something? And so on. No matter who we are, where we live, deep inside we all feel incomplete. It's like if we had lost something and experiencing the need to find it back. So it's very interesting because I asked to many people what was their perception from this something, the missing link. A lot of people think is love. And personally, I think is God. And actually, I realized that is the same thing. Love, God, reconnection is the same. Consciousness is the same concept. Because we come from it. And then we can use is an essence, okay? So then it's a perspective, but is this notion of half apple. It means thereby that it's not necessarily the fact to consume your other apple, it's just the fact to be reconnected to the world and to the unity, universe, or unity within you. And once you have that, you're in couple or not, you're in harmony and you're in love with everything. You know, and for me, it's really important. This is what I try to explain with the notion in mysticism that we call Aleph. This is the first Hebraic letter in the alphabets. This is depicted in the Aleph, the book Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian writer, author. I talk about that in the sexuality. It's a moment. So there is a great Aleph and a small Aleph. Small Aleph is individual. Okay, is mystical. It's mystical ecstasis. Okay, ecstatic, mystic dimension. Okay, you lose control because you're full of love and so on, and you are not anymore, you don't know what time is it and so on, okay? You have it when you are admiring a landscape, a scene, whatever, okay? You are just, you're not thinking, I am admiring, just, no, you are united with the landscape and you are part of it. The great Aleph, so it's suspended space-time. And the great Aleph is exactly the same, but combined with someone else. Okay, but love, I mean, as a couple, but not necessarily. With excellent friends, sometimes he speaks, and you don't know if you listen or you speak, because it's kind of combined. And you recreated Aleph. This is experiencing the collective consciousness. And I'm pretty sure it's just a feeling that the new era is already that. Is when we have that, if we have a kind of reconnection with this global consciousness, it doesn't mean that you lose your individuality, not at all, but at least you're, let's say, in a hyper connection, much more than the just hyper connected with internet and so on. I'm referring to what I say in the key 11, a word to the wise. Okay, so let's see some different techniques. First of all, work on yourself. I talk about many times key 9, key 10. Okay, know yourself and you know thyself, and you will know the secret of of God and the universe. This is this. Know yourself, your character, your personality, the different mask. Where is coming from? Education, school, parents, and so on. Culture, blah, blah, blah. Okay? It is affecting you? No. Okay. Are you in peace with that? Yes, and so on. So adjust, change, train, have therapy, whatever, but do it. Try to know yourself. Extremely important. It's the first thing for all personal development, all, let's say, spirituality, inner journey. Always know yourself. Whatever the origin, the way, the spirituality is always the first stuff. Okay? Thereby, it will allows you to access to self-love. Okay? Self-confidence as well. Okay? If you have a fear of being, abandoned, okay? The fact to be abandoned. Okay? For example. Or the fact to be the jealousy, the possession, all this kind of thing. Because this can affect definitely your couple. Someone who is jealous is really difficult to manage for the person who emitting that. And this is a nightmare for those who are honest and so on, faithful. And it can destroy the couple. Okay, you can be jealous because, I don't know, someone is officially cheating you and so on. So it's different. I'm not saying of closing the eyes, of course. Or you can close the eyes if you consider it doesn't affect you. If you don't suffer about that, fair enough. But in this concept of you are suffering about that, of course, talk, change, or if it's too difficult, change, quit. That's the point. Manage your trauma and so on. Because once again, I told you this image. If I'm burned, okay, I've been burned, you can do a caress. I'm gonna jump. Okay, it's affecting me. So it's important, or to talk with someone. Okay, if someone has been raped, or all these kind of things. It's important to work on it with a psychologist, whoever, the therapist, and also to talk with the partners. This is really important. The communication, the notion of suffocating. Okay, the other. Some people needs freedom. Some people It doesn't mean that the person doesn't like you, but the person can just breathe, okay, an artist and so on. Depending. Some people are more cats, some people are more dogs. Dogs are more close to people. And some cats, they need their independence. That's the point, okay? So this is important to see this, to be in harmony. To be in harmony, once you clean up and you work on yourself and you are on harmony, for me, I think at this moment, you can find someone. And not on the other way around, for the reason I explained. Otherwise, you establish a dependence, a fear, and so on. Like a crunch. This is what I said before. In harmony, it's like Murphy law. It's attraction law, okay, because you are vibrating, so you're attracting more. And the Murphy law is the fact, for example, you say, oh, it's unfair, I didn't have any chance for having a girlfriend for 3-4 years. And recently I met someone, I'm in love, and I have many proposals. Why? It's simple. You're vibrating, you're in love, so you're emitting a lot of love. So these are stimuli. Your toroidal force is vibrating, so people receive that. So it's not to piss you off, it's not to annoy you, it's just the fruit of the result. So law of attraction, that's why I invite you to clean up first, and then you have more chance. Also because you are less affected if the person disappear for any reasons. Analyze what you're looking for. That to say, more physical, more for humor, more a good discussion, spirituality, patience, leisure, whatever. But this is important, and this is just a suggestion. Don't idealize, for the reason I say before, because we are never perfection. There is no perfection. Okay. Another point. The fact to be confident, to vibrate positively, is linked to law of attraction. But this is what I said before. This is Rumi saying, what you seek is seeking you. Okay, so doesn't mean that you wait in the middle of nowhere, the prince or the princess knocking on the door. No, you do things, but they don't force. You know, some people. Like the kids when they force the puzzle game and it doesn't match, it doesn't fit. She was my soulmate, but if she consider you're not, it means you're not. Okay, it should be mutual. Okay, so wait, because if it is the good one, it will arrive. I invite you also for a technique, sorry, but the app. I never used, but I'm not absolutely not shocked. I know a lot of people, and even they are married now, and they use that. You're living in the middle of nowhere in in states and so on, in the mountains, and you don't have. How do you find someone when you are 60 years old and so on? You go to the pub, you go to a restaurant and so on. Hey, I would like no. Application, you can chat, you can put some features, some let's say some parameters according to your expectation, your center of interest. So for me, it does make sense. I lived in big cities like Paris, London, and so on. Shanghai was different because the expat community is very easygoing, and it's really easy to find some people. I mean, not only love, friends and so on. But in Paris or London, it was difficult to find some people. Okay, so anyway, some other activities like you do sports and so on. There is I will try to find if there is an equivalent for Anglo-Saxon countries, but in France there is one for French speakers. It's like activities like going to cinema, like going to see an exhibition and so on. It's organized to meet people, not necessarily for couples, but friendships, and thereby it can be couples as well. And I think it's very good because a lot of people are suffering to be alone. 24% in France. And in Europe, I imagine is equivalent. So this is a good way. Okay, it's not official date like we need to seduce and so on. It's if you want to find someone, is a good way because alternative way you will meet or not people. It can work or not. Anyway, non-violent communication, referring to key 52, which is empathy. Concretely, I make it short. Non-violent communication. The basis is you express yourself with presenting you vision, your angle of perception, plus your needs. Okay, I would like you to do this effort and so on. Okay, I perceive it badly and personally. Okay, you express your vision and then your needs. Okay, then you do exactly the same on the other way around. Your partner express himself or herself towards you with her or his needs and his perception. Everybody always think to be right. That's the point. Okay? So, a good communication with the fact that if there is a problem, there is necessarily a pending solution. Resolution, corrective action, if we have efforts or at least commitments, with time frame, okay, with investment and versus stubbornness, I told you, because if there is no mutual will, it will not work at all. If it doesn't care, if she doesn't care, it will not work. It has to be mutual investments, okay? Small adjustments can work, but at least if it doesn't work after a few years, okay, you try a therapist, a psychologist, and so on, it doesn't work. Okay, that's finished, that's it. Let it go, okay? Like the key 32. When I say sanitized couple, I think it's absolutely normal to have up and down and sometimes to have arguments, to shout and so on. Why not? Without disrespecting, of course, but it's healthy. I mean, it's normal part, okay? It's okay, it's sometimes the character is like this, and personally, I would not like someone like a yes man, yes woman, always, oh yes, darling, oh yes, sweetheart, always. Okay, it's my perception. Some people maybe like, I don't like. I like some people with a character, let's say. So I don't think it's necessarily bad, without, of course, resentful. Those who are resentful, it's really complex. But anyway, resilience, concept, corrective action, effort, investment, but good balance between obstinacy, I told you, and efforts. Okay, but it should be easygoing. I'm just trying to tell you it should be easygoing. That's the points. Some tips. Okay, so acts and words. There are actions and words. Some people talk a lot. Some people don't talk, but they do a lot. Doers and talkers, we can say, speakers. That's important also to see the intention, referring to the key 51, that to say, yes, sometimes is not really delicate and so on, but we can see at the end he tried his best or her best. Okay, it's a little bit disgusting, but he prepared food for you. Okay, with love. Okay, it's not the most beautiful flowers, but he tried his best. Or she tried her best. Okay, so try to decipher and to separate intention with acts and speech. Okay, and talks, words. Be honest and entire, authentic, okay, online with yourself and life. That's to say, don't force yourself, okay? Doesn't mean you don't do any effort, but you don't have this love, this minimum, okay? You cannot create it. Even if it's not, I don't believe necessarily love at first sight, okay? I know it exists. But love at first sight, it's just a feeling like honeymoon. So it will change after a while. But then, building love, you can start from almost nothing. And because you are spending time with someone, you discover each other, and this person changed. And she's radiating more and more. And so it's also possible. And you build in the reality, not in the sound, in the rock, on the rock. Okay? You build with memories, with testimonies, with sharing part of your life and so on. So this is different perspective. It's more constructive. Okay? Perspective of love, but both, let's say, working in a certain extent. Be aware that it comes, and I mean, it's like the tide, yeah, it comes, it goes away, and so on. I told you, it's like a sinusoidal. It's like fire. Yeah, it's good to reinvent, to be creative, to put some more wood in the fireplace, okay, to animate your couple. Accept that it can be punctual. It can be 1 year, it can be 10 years, it can be 20 years, and so on. It's already good. Okay, this is already a beautiful story, There is no perfect life, I told you. There is no perfect couple. I don't know them. I never met anybody saying, oh, my life is amazing, my couple is amazing, and they are together for 30 years. I don't know. Okay, so if you know, let me know. It would be, we need to clone them, but you know what I mean. You know, to conquer without peril, we triumph without glory. This is what we say in French. And high risk, high return. So, yes, it's a little bit dangerous love because you can suffer, but you suffer, but at least you are alive. That's really important. Preserve yourself, detach yourself from extreme. Okay, this is for me important. Don't expect anything, you know. Love and fear, there is a good match, middle path between detachments and involvements and dependence. Okay, I love this sentence from great Sufi saying, don't rely too much on someone from this world, because even your shadow leaves you when you are in the darkness. This is really beautiful. Welcome life as it is. You're single, enjoy this moments. You can have a lot of opportunities. You have freedom. You can, okay, it's a kind of freedom as well. Okay, there is advantages for everything. When I was single, I appreciate so much as well. Now I appreciate as well. Okay, I was not frustrated because I was like this. Okay, so then you can also adjust, do something, involve something into activities and so on. So for everything, okay, you suffer action, proactive action, okay, corrective action, adjustments. You find someone at the beginning, it can be so-so, and then because you invest, because there is a mutual will, it can success. Okay, so there is no perfect, let's say, theory and only good adaptation. Don't compare; it's useless. Compare to what? Okay, you never know what's inside the household. Okay, you never know. Sometimes they look good and then they're absolutely not. You know, I told you, Instagram is just an illusion and is a little bit the metaphor. Don't ask too much advice from your friends. Why? If, you know, it's like algorithm for internet. Algorithm suggests exactly according to your previous researches. So you never get involved. So if you go to see a friend and you say, oh, you see what she did to me, she blah, 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 blah. At the end, what's the result? The conclusion from your friend? You will say, oh, really bad and so on. Because you ask him indirectly to say, it's bad, right? Yes, it's bad. And it's very rare that a good friend say to you, no, you are completely out. Are you sure that you're really objective? What's your perception? What's her perception? Don't you think she's doing exactly the same with her friend? And so be careful about that. And be careful also by giving your opinion systematically, because the angle is just an angle. It's just a perception from a testimony, which is never objective. That's why it's very important when you have a therapist or a psychologist and so on. You have two parts. Everybody is putting on table and he is reformulating his empathy, communication, and so on. It's like diplomacy in certain extent. Yeah? But keep this in mind. Be original. Be original and creative to reinvent eventually love, punctually, and also the notion of couple. Okay, apparently, according to the survey, the worldwide survey of diverse rate, 50%, it means it doesn't work. It doesn't work like this. So reinvent it, not necessarily according to what it has been done or not. You know, there is interesting African tribe for which there is a village for women and a village for men. And they have couples and they see each other 2 or 3 times a week and it's working perfectly. Okay? I know this type of people and it's worked perfectly over the time and over much more than other people always together. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but you know yourself, people are matching and so on. It's just a good adaptation and tuning. This is really important. Do we need to share everything to go to toilets together? I don't think so. But then it's my own way. We need to breathe also, to allocate free time, freedom with friends and so on, separately, collectively, with family. This is important also when you have a family. She's your wife, she's the mother, she's friend of you, and so on. We are different. And this is also important to respect these differences. Okay, but also to rediscover your wife as not always the mother of your kids, as a woman, purely a woman as well. And same for men, and so on. But this is important to allocate time for romantic dinner and so on. You put to your parents and so whatever. No need to. I depict a new way. It's not necessarily my vision in Sage Passage Utopia. I will put the references. The book is for free available on my website. You can download. Depicting a new vision from a new era of the notion of couple. And I invite you to check if you think it's interesting. Once again, there is no miracle recipe. There is no miracle. There is only miracle adaptation. I say many times, love is for the couple, is for unconditional love, is kind of awakening. It's a cement of the new era, the new paradigm. This is something we could discuss for hours and hours, but what is important is to follow our heart. This is really important. I really invite you to think about all these elements. This is only one key for you to shape your master key to open up the doors of consciousness or whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to home and to the dome. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.